Everybody, welcome back to Pro Tools 101 lessons at Educator.com. This is our last chapter, our last lesson, and it's lesson 18. It's called bouncing, and in this lesson basically we got to our final action here, and following up all these chapters we are at bouncing. What's bouncing? That's what we're going to be learning in this lesson. We will transfer and convert our Pro Tools file into WAV or MP3 or other type of file format with bouncing. So we will take a look at the file types, different file types. We'll learn about bounce window or bounce option dialog box in Pro Tools, and we also gonna learn about adding a bounce file to iTunes library, as well as sharing at SoundCloud. These are some of the new features of the 10th edition. And finally, how to burn a song on a CD from iTunes. So finally got rid of the previous song we were working on in the arranging and mixing chapters. We just have another track that I used earlier. I wanted something like about a minute long, and I actually save as this session with a new title. Remember in the earlier lessons I used this file for one or two lessons. It's called Shadow, but it was about another 15-20 seconds longer in the end, so I just got rid of that. But I didn't want to lose the session, so what I did, what we just learned on the previous 17 chapter, I saved as. So as soon as I saved as, I typed a new title, which is Shadow alternate ending, and when I have this alternate ending, as soon as I start working, this is my new window, and I don't have that section in the end here, so I erased it. But the original Shadow, of course, it still has that one. So there are a couple of things we need to talk about before we go to the bounce. Certain common mistakes, if there's any of your tracks are track enabled, turn them off. If then there's any area selected, also make sure of pressing somewhere or going back to return. If you had a selected area, you go to the top by return, or this key right here you can press on return to 0. Make sure nothing's selected on the edit window. Also, nothing is record enable. Sometimes it doesn't mean it's not going to bounce the way you want, but it's just better to be safe, to pay attention to these things. Make sure important channels are not mute or unmuted. For instance, I have a click here, and I don't know the click setup, but since this is something was very important for me during performing and recording, I turned this click off by muting it. Of course, we can always check, basically going to double click here. That's actually set to play and record, so it will have sounded actually. So if it was there, it wouldn't be on the bounce, right? But to be safe, just don't have. So also make sure somehow your master is good. Maybe play the tune in advance, of course, and just check it out if it's everything. Make sure you remember this track. Seems like everything's good here. Okay, so what do we do? Right now there's a couple of things we can still talk about that we can directly go bounce, but however I like to select what I'm bouncing always. So if you just happen to go to the bounce under file structure menu, that's where we're going to go to bound on a disk, shortcut of option command B. What we're going to be doing here, it's selecting before we actually choose that option. If you go to the ruler area and double click, Pro Tools will select everything, all your session here, and where it ends, where Pro Tools thinks that's your session is ending, that's not necessarily where you want to end your session. Sometimes it's pretty good actually where it is at the moment. You see this little dot, the little line there, it's going there. However, you can hold this timeline selection out point and move, which isn't exactly the case here because I'm adding more minutes here, and I need to kind of bring it here. Always give a little bit time after, but not too long, because people who's gonna listen to the track, let's say they don't wanna like maybe hear 20 seconds of silence after the track's over unless it's got some sort of purpose.